More drama surrounding Dan Ashworth to Manchester United. INEOS' big summer clear-out set to begin. And will Amed Diogo finally get a chance in the first team tonight? These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this morning's show. But before we jump into that, please smash a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight on into it. So let's start with some positivity then, shall we? As we always like to do here on Daily Red Devil. And the story I've got for you this morning is about Manchester United's under-18s team, who have been officially crowned the Premier League Cup champions. They beat Man City 2-1 yesterday. Really, really happy for them. Obviously, Harry Amas was part of that team. He was on the bench against Coventry on the weekend. There's even a rumour that he might get an opportunity in the first team today, which will be quite exciting. Whether or not that will happen, we'll have to wait and see. But what I can say is the future looks bright for Manchester United's youth team, doesn't it? The under-21s won the Premier League, and now the under-18s have done the same. If only our first team could do it, hey? But, you know, hopefully we start bringing these players, these young, hungry, exciting, talented players from our youth academy through into the first team, because I think it's what we're absolutely screaming out for, is these players with love for the club, but also not that ego, which I think a lot of these players at Man United at the moment have, where they think they're better than they are. We need to bring through this next generation, and hopefully, you know, success and trophies will follow suit. Whether that will happen or not, I don't know, but I would really like to see it happen. You know, Kobe Mainoo is a prime example of that. He's come through the youth academy. He gives 150% every single game. He's just turned 19, I think, already in the England squad. Like, we need to just follow that blueprint, because we do have talented players in our youth academy. You know, it's not just a coincidence that the under-21s and the under-18s have just won their respective trophies, you know, whereas we're not winning anything. So yeah, big ups to them, congratulations, and I hope to see some of these youth players get an opportunity in the first team in the kind of next year or so. But yeah, right, let's move over to the first team then. I mean, the first team it's all a bit miserable at the moment, isn't it? But obviously we're here to talk about Man United, so let's get straight onto it, and let's start with the summer clear out. First bit of news I got for you this morning is on Hannibal Mejbri, obviously on loan at the moment over at Sevilla. And the story this morning is that apparently Feyenoord are interested in signing Hannibal Mejbri when he returns to Manchester United this summer, following his loan spell at Sevilla. It says Hannibal Mejbri is likely to leave Manchester United. I think that's the right decision. He's got the right attitude. He tries, but I don't think he's good enough to be a Man United player, to be completely honest with you. He's been sniffing around the first team for years. What I have seen of him, he puts in a tackle. He looks like he cares, but I don't think he's not on the level of Kobe Mainoo, is he? Let's be honest. He's not. Is he better than McTominay? Probably not. Is he better than Casemiro? Probably not. And most of us don't think those players are good enough. So Hannibal Mejbri to Feyenoord, I think that'd be a good deal. We probably would get maybe 5 million for him, something like that. So yeah, I have no issue with that whatsoever. But let me know in the comment section, would you like to see Hannibal Mejbri stay at Manchester United? For me, not bothered at all. I think you let him go. The next bit of news I have for you is about Raphael Varane. And the headline this morning is that apparently Manchester United are now actively looking for a replacement for Raphael Varane, who they expect to leave this summer. Obviously, he's a free agent in June. Man United didn't extend his contract. He's been injured a lot this season. He is a decent centre-back. Of course he is, but his injury record is terrible. He's going to be 31 in, I think, tomorrow. He turns 31 tomorrow. It's time for him to move on. I've enjoyed having Raphael Varane here. I like him. I think he's got the right attitude as a player. I think he's, a level above all the other centre backs we've got, bar Martinez. But still, he's been injured a lot since he's been here. I'm looking through the injuries. He's been here since 2022, I think, and he's missed nearly about 30 or 40 games across 2 seasons. I mean, that's ridiculous for a centre back. If you look at, let's have a look at, Saliba at Arsenal, okay? Their best centre-back. Since Saliba has been at Arsenal, he has missed... he's only missed about 20 games in his whole career. I know he's only 23, but still, we need to move Varane on. He's on 340k a week. Move him on. Bring in a younger, more hungry centre-back who's not injury-prone. And that will be the best decision for me. But yeah, keeping on the topic of Varane, the same story also says that Casemiro is likely to to leave Manchester United this season. It says behind the scenes moves are being discussed to allow them to leave, with Saudi Arabia the most likely destination, especially for Casemiro. So it looks like Casemiro will get his move to Saudi, most likely to Al Nassr to reunite with Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, I wish them all the best. It's been nice having two world-class names at our club, but as always with Manchester United, we sign these players in the twilight of their career. We sign them when effectively they're past their best. We pay stupid money for them and we give them stupid wages. And that's a pattern that Man United need to break. Jim Ratcliffe, Sir Dave Brailsford, etc. need to break this pattern. No longer can be the days where we buy 30-year-olds who are no longer wanted at other clubs. We give them stupid wages and give the club that they've just come from a stupid amount of money for them when they're past their best. You know, we did it with Casemiro, we did it with Varane. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on, doesn't it? With, you know, Cavani, Falcao, like you could sit here for 10 minutes listing off the players in the last 10 years we've bought who were probably past their best. We gave them stupid wages and didn't really work out. So yeah, hopefully these two go, and hopefully we bring in younger, more exciting players for the future, because I don't want to keep bringing up Arsenal, but you look at Arsenal's squad and it's all young players. So even if it doesn't work out with Arteta, say in a couple of years, Arsenal still haven't won anything, but you know, Arteta has set up Arsenal for the next 10 years, hasn't he? Because they've got a squad of players all in their early 20s. Whereas Manchester United, our best team are probably, apart from Kobe Mainoo, Garnacho, they're all probably 26 to 35, you know, around that kind of age, aren't they? You know, you think of Bruno, he's 30 this year. Varane's 31, Casemiro's 32. I think Luke Shaw's 28, 29. I don't know how old Onana is. I think he's probably nearly 30, is he? I mean, goalkeepers is kind of different, isn't it? Like, goalkeepers can go a little bit longer. Yeah, Onana's just turned 28. So yeah, I think it's the right decision, and I would be happy if both of those players leave. I think we'll be able to get much better options for our money, especially on the wages. Moving over to Amed Diogo. So obviously, there are stories saying Amed Diogo is going to feature tonight, because apparently Rashford's injured, apparently Garnacho's injured, McTominay's injured. Like, we've got another 4 injuries since the Coventry City game. And the headline this morning is that apparently Amed Diogo wants answers on his future. I don't blame him, to be honest. You know, he's done every possible thing right. He went off on loan. He did really well at Sunderland. Obviously, he got injured earlier on in the season, which I think set him back a little bit, but he's now available. He's fit. In the moments we've seen of him, he's looked really, really good. And I think he does deserve an opportunity. So if Erik ten Hag is not going to give him an opportunity, then he should look to move on. And, you know, because all I want is these young players to have the best careers. People like Casemiro and Varane, they've been around for God knows how long. You know, they're at the end of their careers. But Amed Diogo's career is on hold. He's a talented player. Is he as good as Garnacho? Probably not. Does he deserve game time over Rashford? I think he does. Is he better than Antony? I think he is. So why is he not getting opportunities? It doesn't make sense. And if he's not going to get opportunities, fine. Let him go. Let him go and play somewhere else, because it doesn't really add up to me. But Erik ten Hag was talking about Amed Diogo in his recent press conference. And he said this. He says, Amed deserves it, but don't forget he was injured for a long period of time. So we will rebuild him and give him opportunities. There is a lot of competition for his position. I get that, right? But we've heard that Harry Maguire was injured on Saturday. I mean, it's a slightly different example because we didn't have any other centre-backs, but we hear that Rashford plays injured. We hear that Antony's injured. We hear that Bruno plays injured. Why is it that other players in the squad are allowed to play injured, but Amed Diogo is being nursed back to full recovery, and he was injured 6 months ago, so he shouldn't play? Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, why can some players be allowed to play injured, but Amed Diogo isn't given any game time because 6 months ago he was injured? Like, I don't get it. I don't know. I think if you're not going to play him, just let him go. It's not the end of the world. He might not even turn out to be a world-class player. He might just, you know, be a squad player. We just don't know. We haven't given him a run in the team. So it's really difficult to formulate an opinion, because 10 minutes in a game, when the other team are tired, a player can look incredible. But how does that player perform if he's playing for 90 minutes? You know, we might look and be like, oh, he's not as good as we thought he is. But it's impossible to give a full analysis if we haven't actually seen anything of him. But yeah, I'll keep you updated on that one. And then the final story I've got for you this morning is about Dan Ashworth. So as I said on the show yesterday, there was a story that came out yesterday saying that Dan Ashworth to Newcastle was a done deal. This is incorrect. Apparently Manchester United, get ready for this, right? Manchester United offered £2 million in compensation to Newcastle. to allow him to start working for Manchester United immediately, right? Newcastle want around £15 million plus £5 million in add-ons. So £20 million total Newcastle United want. And Man United are only willing to pay £2 million. So apparently Dan Ashworth to Manchester United has effectively been put on hold. And it looks like Dan Ashworth won't join Manchester United until next year. That's when his gardening leave is over. So it looks like Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, Dave Brailsford, etc. They'll be the ones doing the recruitment this summer. They'll be the ones selling the players. And it looks like Dan Ashworth won't officially start at Manchester United until next year now, because I agree paying £20 million for him is ridiculous. Now, there is always the conversation you have to have. Legally, he's not allowed to work, i.e. not allowed to be in Carrington and all the rest of it. But is there a world where Dan Ashworth is actually speaking to these people? I don't know. I don't know how it works. But to think that Dan Ashworth is effectively sat at home watching Netflix for the next year and is not allowed to do anything work-related seems a little bit unrealistic, you know? For example, Dan Ashworth could speak to his agent and say, oh, these are the players that I would sign at Manchester United. And then his agent could speak. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's probably ways around it. I don't know how it works, but I think Man United are probably right to not be giving Newcastle £20 million. Like, you could buy a player for that. That's a lot of money, £20 million for somebody who effectively, I don't think he's worth £20 million. I'm sorry. Like, if we're all sat here umming and ahhing about, you know, having to pay 10 million for De Zerbi or the amount of money it will cost to sack Erik ten Hag and all of these things, £20 million for a director of football, when you've already got Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada through the door, who effectively will be involved in the recruitment anyway. I agree that I think it's a stupid thing. So I actually back Man United on this one. And I think the one thing you have to really, really focus on here is that INEOS are setting the precedent for the future. Okay? They're saying to other clubs, we're not going to get our pants pulled down. This isn't the Manchester United of old where we'll give you £70 million for Casemiro at the age of 30. This isn't the world where we'll give you, you know, £80 million for Anthony. This is a new regime. And we're not going to just fail under the pressure and say, okay, Newcastle, here's 20 million. We've offered them 2 million. We think that's a fair amount of money. They either take it or they don't. And we get him for free in a year. So I agree with this, and I actually back them on this one. I know some people will say, oh, just give him the 20 million, it will be worth it. But when our budget for this summer, if we don't get Champions League, which we won't, it's probably only going to be about 100 million. You're telling me we should spend a fifth of our budget on a director of football? I mean, that probably means we'd only be able to sign like 2 players or something like that. So yeah, I agree with this one. But you can let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm going to wrap the video up here. I will be live after the game tonight, obviously Sheffield United. If you want to get your score predictions in, please do that. This has been Daily Red Devil. If you have enjoyed today's show, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you all a bit later.